Well, I thought I'd do a little sip it brew review of one of my beers from work that I got for Christmas. It's a stout, 5% ABV by Burton Bridge, bottle conditioned at the brewery, and it is blackberry juiced stout. You can see the little blackbird nicking the blackberries, as they quite often do before we get a chance to do a hedgerow harvest. So I thought we'd try this one out. Hiss and smoke from the top. A little bit coming out, I can smell it now. Strong head. Right, well, we had a little bit of bother filling the glass with the contents of the bottle. You can see we've got a thick creamy head, almost like a yeast cake. But, it's been feeding that with the carbonation. You can see that smaller bubbles coming up the rocky head. There's a slightly off-white head. Not getting an awful lot on the nose. There is a fragrance there, but it's almost a little bit florally. I think it's coming from the blackberry. There's a little. Blackberry's not overpowering, although I think it'd be quite hard to get it in a beer such as a stout. There's the typical stout bitterness. I've just had a look on the website to see what hops they use. They use Challenger hops and pale malt and chocolate malt. Their notes say a strong chocolatey aroma with a hint of fruit. Not getting that strong chocolatey aroma. There is a chocolate note to it, very, very subtle, for me anyway. And it's more on the afterness when you've sort of got used to the bitterness. It's a slightly dry stout, not overly dry. Smooth drinking. You can feel the carbonation. There's a round sort of malt sweetness very, very much on the back, on the return after you've had a few mouthfuls. I've served it at around about 14 degrees. Glass is still cold. There is that sort of sharp tartness that you get from some blackberries, you know, when you pick them and they look ripe and juicy, and some of them are a little bit tart. There is that more prominent than the actual blackberry flavour, sort of like the bitter ones, the tarty, sour blackberries that you shove into your mouth when you hedge harvesting. Don't think you'd want to hammer away at these all night. I think it'd be like a beer to try, but I don't think you'd want sort of a case of them to try. But yeah, it's not overly fruity like you would associate with, say, like the Belgian fruit beers. It is more of a back note and after, in the shadows almost, sort of taste with the blackberries. Is very much more an earthier, woodier taste to that rather than fresh fruit. We work our way down a little bit further, let the glass warm up. it is pulling through more of the fruitiness now. It is worth letting the beer get a little bit warm. The flavours change, some come more pronounced, some that you first taste disappear as your palate gets used to it. It doesn't taste as bitter and as harsher, sort of typical stout bite. It seems smoother now. The fruit note is more noticeable, the chocolatey. It wasn't really pulling a lot of chocolate flavours out. I mean, it's more the baker's cocoa chocolate rather than a bar of chocolate. But it does feel more rounded now and a better mouthfeel. There's more of the taste of the fruit. Again, it's not like eating fresh blackberries. It is more like I said, when you get the odd one that looks as nice as the other ones, but is a little bit more soury, sharpy taste to it. This has got more of that sharpness of the fruit rather than the sweetness of the fruit. And the notes, sort of the nose, is more floral, more fruity now that the beer's settled a little bit, and it's, I think, more drinkable now. I think we didn't say it earlier, it's not going to be a stout that's going to change people that don't like stouts. If they don't like stouts, this isn't going to be a crossover pint. But it is definitely changing while it's building up to room temperature. And as you can see, the head's still there, the cap. It's a good stout. Well, it will be your companion till the bottom of the glass. But it is more almost seems daft if you were to chew the branch. Well, you want to with all the thorns, but it's got that more earthy, woody flavour to it than the sweetness that you get from the berry. It's sort of more reminiscent, you know, if you're chopping them down in the garden when you're sort of having a clear up and you get that smell, and you can taste with smells. There's that fruit wood back note to it on the flavour. It's not out and out. It's not like, you know, a fresh punnet of blackberries or blackberry jam or anything. It's not sweet and fruity that you'd associate. But yeah, it's a nice pint now. Did come across. It's not as bitter as a Guinness. It is probably a little bit more easier drinking if you're not a huge stout fan, but you just try them and see what you like. But it's definitely worth, you know, when you hand someone a drink and let them have a sip and they go, ooh, let them acclimatise to it and try it again, and the tastes change. And I think that's characteristic of a lot of ales, that the flavours come out more and things are more noticeable as you get down the glass. But yeah, I sort of liked it, now I really like it. Wouldn't go out and buy a 6-pack of them, but I'd certainly, it's one to sort of keep, and if you have someone over who also likes beers, share it with them and see what they think. Anyway, that's the Bramble Stout by Burton Bridge. Cheers. Get your own beer.